Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk to you about cloth nappies or diapers 101, everything you need to know, right from newborn to birth to potty and more. Excuse me. So first I'm going to talk to you about prefolds, and prefold is basically a piece of fabric or cotton normally that's pre-folded so that there's like a pad in the middle. Now you can do this with terries or muslins, but I've never used those so much, so I'm not going to do a video on those. But you would typically fold a prefold in the way that I'm folding it now, and it's called an angel fold. This is the most cheapest way to cloth nappy a newborn and the most effective way. It's incredibly cheap, like I said, because newborns grow so fast, but these minimize poo explosions amazingly. I've never had an explosion in them. And you would use a PUL wrap, which PUL means polyupper laminate, I think, or a fleece soaker on top, because it's, the whole thing is just cotton, it's not waterproof. If you didn't want to do any fancy folding, here I'm showing you on the wrap though that it's double gusseted, which I would recommend if you get a wrap. But yeah, if you don't want to do any fancy folding, you just fold your prefold into into threes, like a trifold, and just lay it inside the wrap, and that would basically be your absorbency. Yeah, you can kind of use it any way you want. You can also use a prefold to stuff pocket nappies, which is what I'm going to show you now. Now this is a newborn pocket nappy, it's not the most common pocket nappy, and it's basically, excuse me, what it says on the tin. It's a nappy with a pocket where you stuff your absorbency. But it's incredibly difficult to stuff because the middle gusset is so narrow. Also, the absorbency is not brilliant because newborns wet very heavily, and the containment's just not brilliant. Newborns tend to have very explosive poo, and they just don't work. You can also get a Velcro version. Now this is a fitted or a shaped nappy. The whole nappy is made out of cotton, not waterproof. You would need a wrap. It has a snap down at the front for the umbilical cord, however, which is great, so you minimise any kind of irritation. And it has the boosters that snap in. So this particular nappy, which is by the brand Blueberry, is called an all-in-two. Means that if just the booster was wet, you could just take it out and put a new one in. But very rarely has that happened. Like I said, newborns wet very heavily. So the whole thing would need either a fleece wrap or a PUL wrap because it's not waterproof, but these are costly and they don't last very long. So this is an all-in-one, meaning the absorbency is completely attached to the nappy. There's no separate boosters, and this is in comparison to a birth to potty size tot spots. So you can see there's a big difference, and the tot spots are quite expensive and they don't last very long on babies because newborn babies grow so fast, and they didn't work for us whatsoever. They didn't work for us at all. Again, I suggest you try different brands because each baby is different, but yeah, they're expensive and the containment's not great. Okay, so this is a shaped nappy, and it's basically like a prefold, but it's already been cut out into the shape of a nappy, so you don't have to worry about any fancy folding. The whole thing in this particular brand, this is Diddy Diaper, is made out of cotton. You could buy any brand that might be bamboo or another absorbent fabric. And you just do as I'm doing here, and it's kind of ready folded, so it's very easy to use, and you just use a snappy for a customizable fit. And you would need a wrap on top. The good thing about these is this particular nappy is in size 1, so it will go up to probably about 13 or 14 pounds. So now I'm going to talk to you about birth to potty or size nappies. So here's a comparison to a newborn prefold and a bigger prefold. Now this is the size that Seb's in now, and it's a size 2 Bambino Mio. However, Bambino Mio have now decided to market their size 2 prefolds as a 1 size, meaning that they are kind of marketing it for newborns. It can be used for newborn, but it would be very, very bulky, so I highly recommend you get newborn prefolds. So this is a fleece liner, and this is used to keep the baby dry but also to contain poo. But I also use a biodegradable flushable liner on top to catch any poo. Now this is the same nappy as I've shown you before, the Diddy Diaper, but this is a size 2, so the slightly bigger size. But it's cotton inside, so I always line it with fleece to make sure that Sebastian feels completely dry, and then I put a biodegradable flushable liner inside it. You don't have to do that though. You could just use the fleece as a liner in itself and just kind of plop the poo in the loo. And again, you would need a wrap to go on top, a birth to potty wrap. So this is a Birth to Potty all-in-one. The brands are typically Bum Genius, Tot Spots, Mio Solos and Cushies, and again the booster is all attached. This is why I say to people to get lots of different brands, preferably pre-loved, to see what works for your baby, because Tot Spots, as much as I love them, they don't work for Sebastian. They always leak, they don't fit him correctly, and they're just incredibly frustrating for us to make work. So which is just such a shame. You can also get Tot Spots in a popper version as well as Velcro. And you can see there's the 3 sort of snap rises to make it into from birth to potty. And birth is typically from around, I'd say about £10. And you can see 2 different sizes here. Yeah, from about £10, at least that's when they started to fit Sebastian properly. So this is a Bum Genius element. This is Bum Genius Free Time Nappy, sorry, and this is also an all-in-one. And I'm showing you this just to show you the different kind of, how each brand has their own way of having it as an all-in-one. They've all got their own kind of systems, but basically the absorbency is all attached to the nappy. So this is really good for people who are sending the children to nursery or to grandparents or whoever who don't want the hassle of stuffing or anything like that. The same as Velcro, it's very good for them too. And again, here you can see the different snap rises. The downside to Velcro is that older babies can undo them, whereas with poppers, older babies find them very difficult to undo. So you can see here, this is the newborn size. I wouldn't use you can use this on a newborn, but it would just be very bulky. It's kind of up to you what you prefer. This is up against another newborn pocket. So here is a birth to potty pocket nappy, and the whole thing on top is micro fleece, and it's really soft and super drying, like dry. It just feels completely dry. So this is a fleece liner, and you can just use that and plop the poo in the loo. Or you could use a biodegradable flushable liner again and just flush that down the loo. This pocket nappy is the one that majority of our stash is. So the great thing about biodegradable flushable liners is that you can rewash them, and this is a rewashed one versus a brand spanking new one, so you can tell there's not much difference at all. So they will really go a long way if you look after them. But you can do what I do, and that's kind of use both liners, because that way you minimize staining. And these are our favourite nappies because you can customise the absorbency in the pocket. Now you can pull it out and show you, this is how big it goes. It goes to a really good size, and it will go down to a very small size here. And this is an Alva baby nappy, and it's the cheapest the cheapest pocket nappy you can get, and I love them. They work for us fantastically. So you can see it's kind of small, but not that small. Night nappy, or a fitted nappy, I call it a night nappy. This is by Easy Peasy Bimble. The whole thing has a fleece line all around it, and you can see the absorbency. I've used millions of bamboo boosters to stuff that with at the front. You can use this in the day, but this is brilliant for night time because it will keep your baby dry completely. If your night nappy doesn't have the fleece inside, then I highly recommend you use a fleece liner to keep them dry, and I use a fleece soaker on top to keep Sebastian dry at night. So these are boosters, and the typical booster that you will use is a microfiber booster, and it's like a sponge. It sucks up water very fast, but it also wicks water very quickly. So if you squeeze it, it will wick fluid. Now underneath that, you'd want to use either a bamboo booster or hemp, because they will absorb moisture slowly, so it will absorb the moisture of the fallout of the microfiber. So you always want to put microfiber on top of a bamboo booster when stuffing anything. Now you can get different ply. This is a 2-ply bamboo booster, and it's slightly longer. I always double fold them as well to give you that double absorbency around the front. And you can get smaller ones. Again, here's one for a newborn size that's really good for just kind of boosting nappies as and when you need to, if you need that extra absorbency. So this is the Easy Peasy Bimble again, not Easy Peasy Bimble, sorry, the Diddy diaper again. Now if the absorbency as it was isn't enough, you can just add a booster on top of it, or double it over at the front. If you've got a little boy, you'd put it at the back if you have a little girl. However, there's nothing on that that's waterproof, so you would need to put fleece on top. It's really important you do this because the whole thing will make your baby feel very wet if you don't do that, particularly if you're using it for a night nappy. You really do need to use fleece on top. getting a bit out of focus here. So this inside is all cotton. And fleece is amazing stuff because you could just get you know, a blanket and just cut out a blanket in the shape of your shape nappy, but luckily that Bimble one that I just showed you there, the whole thing came with a fleece inner. So I highly recommend the PEASY Bumble nappy. I'll put a link in the description bar if you're wanting to use that as a night nappy. Otherwise, yeah, you just have to kind of make do with fleece liners to keep your baby dry. Now, this is a microfiber booster. You couldn't put microfiber booster in like I've showed you now because microfiber should never touch your baby's skin. It's very irritating. So the way I would you'd use it to stuff a nappy. So the way I would use it to stuff a nappy would be as I've just shown you, with a bamboo booster underneath. But you can use bamboo boosters like here. You can use it in the Bum Genius as added protection. And you can also get custom nappies made by either We Notions or Work at Home Mum kind of companies. This is a really nice 53 nappy that I had made for Herbie 53 for Sebastian. Now this is a Grovia all-in 2 nappies, or hybrids they're known as. A hybrid basically means that you can either have a cloth inside booster or you can use a disposable inside booster. Typically Grovia or G nappies are the typical brands. I don't own any, but they are very good and very slim fitting and give you that kind of flexibility between disposable and cloth. So now this is my pail or bin, nappy bin. It's basically just a flip top bin kept at the back with this, which is by Planetwise, and it's a big, large, stretchy pail liner. You will need wet bags. A small wet bag is what you will need. Oh, my phone's going off constantly. To keep your nappies in while you're out and about. So that's all there is. Hello, Mr. Patch. I had to film Mr. Patch. That's all I'm going to talk to you about nappies. I'm sorry it's really rushed. I will do a review on each one individually, each system individually. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just stuff these. So have a good evening, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.